Hare Krishna. Let's begin with the invocation prayer. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatirmirandasya Jnananjana Shalakya Sakshara Unmilitana Yena Tirtasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupak Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. हे कृष्ण करुण सिंधो दीन बंधो जगतपते गोपेशा गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरंगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छकल्पतारुभ्यस्य कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधारा श्रीवासवादि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. Welcome to all the devotees, and let's give our obeisance to Radha Krishna deities, Radha Govinda, in the temple, ISKCON temple, Mangaluru, and all our gratitudes to all the devotees. Without you all, we cannot have this session going on, and without the organizers and the devotees and all the admins and everybody in those who are doing the voluntary services in ISKCON Mangaluru, for ISKCON Mangaluru, we are all obliged to them, and to all the Bhagavatas, Bhaktas, devotees, and those who are in services. For everybody, let's give the gratitude. So we begin today's session. Before we begin the session, we had been working on this mind and sense control, mind control, why it is, and how do I control. There are a couple of questions. Before I begin also, I just want you to think about it, and you can even put it in the chat box, that first of all, what is mind and sense control? Okay, and why do we need it? How do we do it? That means, what is it? Why do we need it? And how do we do it? Consequences of not controlling the mind and the senses, consequences of not, okay, and the result, the benefits of the controlling the mind and the senses. So there are 5 questions, which is what we have been doing, and today is the 17th day. That is the 3rd module, last but one day, which is the Jnana Yoga. A lot of knowledge we have gathered. Before knowledge, before connecting it with the science and spirituality, based on under that science and spirituality, we had been working on how do I control my mind, what do I do, so I want these questions to be answered before we literally start today's day. But I'm still giving you the chances. You can write on the chat box, we can have the discussion. First is, what is mind and sense control? Second is, why is it needed? Okay, the way you want to also. So how do we do it? Third, whatever you've understood in last 17 days, I mean, today is the 17th day. So then consequences of not controlling it, or the benefits of controlling it. So you need to think about it, write one sentence, we will gather it and we'll have a discussion also on that. This is very important. It's not a test, it's not a quiz, but self-reflection. This is the journal writing, what I had been asking you all to do at the end of the day. But then the beginning itself, I'm asking you these questions so that you start thinking about it. Okay, so we did see about the triguna. We saw the desire tree, entanglement, and the devotional services. How is it important? Why is it important? And we had been going through those yoga. It is always called yoga, and that also we need to see, why is it called Sankhya yoga? Everything in Krishna consciousness, you have been hearing this name, yoga, dhyana yoga, and Ashtanga yoga. So let's see, why do we call that as yoga also? Okay, so we begin with eating and sleeping. This is one of the techniques. There are 27 techniques, but we did give the concepts underground, underlying, in between the lines and everything. So eating and sleeping, how does it matter? How does it really? So you all have heard from the childhood, early to bed and early to rise, makes a person healthy, wealthy, and wise. This we have always heard. And many of you, naturally, you all got early because you are there in this class. That itself shows that you're all early. Okay, so eating and sleeping. Remember these two words. This is today's chapter. A lot of things is connected with it. Foods in the mode of goodness increase the duration of life, purify one's existence, and give strength, health, and happiness and satisfaction. Imagine. So, in mode of goodness, it increases the life, okay, and gives happiness, lot of strength. Such nourishing foods. What are those foods? Are sweet, juicy, fattening, and palatable. Okay, so now think about it. You remember one of the last to last chapter we had, like, from the moon, all those juicy food, sweet, juicy, fattening, palatable. Foods that are too bitter, too sour, salty, pungent, dry and hard are liked by people in the modes of passion, hot, spicy, all that. Such foods cause pain, distress, and disease. Inflammation takes place, So when you listen to different types of food, when you understand, you all go for organic and see what is the ingredients and what does it affect and how does it help your body. You will also put 1+1. That is how you will understand this. Food cooked more than 3 hours before being eaten, which is tasteless, stale, putrid, decomposed, unclean, is food liked by people in the mode of ignorance. Because of this refrigerator, one cooks and keeps it for weeks together, and with the dates and all. So it is put like, okay, last week whatever was there, now today you begin with that. We have seen in the fridge, such food is beyond 3 hours. Beyond 3 hours. It is not considered. So Bhagavad Gita talks about it. Vedanta Deshikars, I told you, right? Ramanuja Paramparas, Vedanta Deshikar, 750 years back, there is one Ahara Niyamam. Ahara Niyamam is disciplining your food. In that, the foods that's been given that can be eaten, if we read, we will never eat anything. There is nothing available in the market. So what you cook, what you make, and matters a lot. That is what we will be studying in this. Okay, so eat sattvic food. The food which you see here, nuts, lentils, fruits, vegetables, life-giving forces, coconuts, you see all those, right? So these are all life-giving foods. This is something to do with, I don't know whether you all know these Bollywood actress, but still quickly we will go through. So the second chapter that we had, body and soul. Are we body or the soul? Is it really permanent? So much time we spend on each thing. Is it permanent? And these top old lost actors of Bollywood then and now. So quickly we will see, because we will all know that how much time we spend, what is it we spend on, and is it permanent? Lot of surgeries to make the nose, to make this, that, so much of money is spent. So now you can see, I'm not going to give those names. You can see on the screen that how they were once and how they are now. Still it's fine, but then that fame, that face, that body which has been given so much of importance, and what was that time and what are they now? Okay, so that is what? Growing, old age, disease, old age, and death. So the birth, so these are all 4 things which is the defects in us, which one knows it, but doesn't want to really agree to it. That is where, we need to understand it is perishable. It is perishable. We are just temporary, and not giving so much of importance to it. Although I mean, I'm not saying that Bollywood actors just came and acted and they have earned money, and most of them, while at the end they never had money also. That is what I've been told. I don't know. Okay. So this clearly shows one cannot just have that in their minds that, oh, I'm the most beautiful, and that pride it takes to the ultimate, which is not correct, is what we all follow. Okay, so well, okay. So we did this mental methods also, changing our thoughts. I'd been focusing on changing the thoughts, changing the thoughts. So these are all the images of mind. Generating words, speaking words, hearing words, seeing words, all these senses, how the mental methods, how these senses needs to be controlled, and it begins with your thoughts. So soul is covered by subtle and gross bodies, the covering of the soul. This also we saw, and the gross body is earth, water, air, fire, ether. The subtle body is mind, false ego, and intelligence. Soul is Satchidananda. That is, it is eternal. Okay, once we see what we saw, this Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas, mode of goodness, mode of passion, and mode of ignorance. Then yes, it is self-explanatory. You can see it's an analogy. Okay. Okay, this is the analogy that we saw. Can anybody explain what you saw? Those three of them, they tried to explain something. They have tried to explain. Anybody can unmute and say. Even our admin, our volunteers can speak. What was it?
Ma'am, three modes of consciousness.
Mm.
That first one was Satta, then Rajas, and then Tamas.
Yes. So clearly, so confidently, one who sees and doesn't even go near, just starts with coconut water. The second one, when the mode of passion, you have that delusion, you have that, is it okay or not okay? So started thinking, and then getting little there. No, I don't need to. So those three consciousness, those three in the three modes, mainly we'll be looking into that today. Okay. So dhyayate vinayan pausau saigas tenu pajyate pai. Then saigat te kamau kamat krodho bhijayate. So while contemplating the objects of the senses, a person develops attachment for them. And from such attachment, lust develops. And from lust, anger arises. This we have seen. Lust, greed, anger is all the gateway. So this was given in the second chapter. Anger, lust, attachment, contemplate on sense objects. This is what, when once gets into the sense objects, that what happens? Attachment. Attachment leads to lust. Lust leads to, when the lust is not, the desire is not fulfilled naturally, it leads to frustration, irritation, and then leads to anger. So the same, then when the anger comes, what happened? Bewilderment of memory, loss of intelligence, and fall. Okay, so it's all connected. Now, what is your present center? This is the force, this is the message today. What is the driving force, inspiration of your life? Example, make parent happy, money, fame, etc. What is it? Okay, so think about it, your present center today. Then what do I spend my time thinking about? Exam, sports, or TV? What is my priority? You all need to reflect, okay? You don't have to answer me anything, but what is the present center is what we are trying to find out. Who or what is my obsession? Example, hero, heroine, music, arts, dress, etc. Dress, jewelry, friends, peer, and going wherever you feel. I don't think many of you are interested in that, because if so, then you will not be here at 6 o'clock. But this helps us to make others understand that where they are. We don't have to be judgmental. We can be non-judgmental. We can be unconditional. We can, give them the unconditional positive regard. So right or wrong centers, we all need to reflect. These are all for reflection. Am I hero-centered, friend-centered? Whatever friend has told me, I have to follow that. Or sports-centered, study-centered, family-centered, money-centered. And there's nothing wrong. And if you really think which is my right center, we need to pick it up. Country-centered, pleasure-centered, thing-centered, self-centered, church, temple, mosque-centered, or principle-centered. Principle is your internal discipline and external discipline. Okay, shaucham. Now, remember this time. Time is this, that is temporary, illusory, miserable, okay, enjoyment. All of them falls into this. So what does Krishna says? Kshatriya, you should know that there is no better engagement for you than fighting on the religious principles. And so there is no need to hesitate. So we need to find out our principles. We need to find out what is right for us. We need to find out our center, our goal. And that is, each one of us have to be reflecting on what is my ultimate goal. Okay. Now, chapter 1, I said yoga. Remember, yoga of Arjuna's dejection. Then second chapter, total Sankhya Yoga. It was the summary, the analysis, all that, I am not the body, but I am the soul. Then yoga of action. So the yoga is always a connection, the connection between the soul and the super soul. Then the knowledge, jnana yoga. Then comes sannyasa yoga, dhyana yoga, meditation. Then yoga of wisdom, vijnana yoga. Okay, we become wiser and wiser by then. We have come to the second module, which is bhakti, which is totally on how to do bhakti, the yoga of liberating spirit. Akshara Brahma Yoga. We saw the yoga of royal and hidden knowledge, Guhya, Raja Vidya, Raja Guhya yoga. Then we saw the yoga of excellence, Vibhuti Yoga. Krishna slowly and gradually giving all his opulences. He is, the height of fame, wealth, strength, renunciation, richness, beauty, everything to the extent of where one can never compare. The yoga of seeing the cosmic form, Vishwarupa Darshana Yoga we saw. Then yoga of devotion, bhakti, total bhakti. Yoga of distinguishing matter from spirit, Prakriti Purusha Viveka Yoga. The yoga of the threefold modalities, that is what Gunatraya Vibhaga Yoga, and we all keep working on the mode of passion, or am I in mode of ignorance, or am I in the mode of goodness? So we Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. The yoga of ultimate person also we saw, Purushottama Yoga. Yoga of differentiating godly and ungodly. That is what we saw yesterday, Deivasura Sampat Vibhaga Yoga. And Daiva, where I asked you to be checking on 1.5 scale, where am I? Humility, pridelessness, tolerance. So Daiva, am I into that? And then what is demonic? I also explained, I was telling you, like, we don't really need to understand who is Kamsa and who is Ravana, because we find a lot of Kamsas and Ravana, but we have to find the, Daiva uh, traits in people as well as introspect in us, which is the Daiva Guna, which is there with us. We all have it. So we don't have to point out the fault in others also. But we do find a lot of crimes around us. That is the reason why we were doing this mind control. Okay, so tomorrow will be the 18th chapter, the Moksha Yoga. Like second chapter, this will also be the longest, where again the summary in conclusion, because second chapter itself it should have got over. But why 700 shlokas? Because Arjuna had lot of doubts, and which is, he asked on our behalf, because he knew that this is what we are going to face and we are all having the answers. That's a life manual. Okay, so what is it today we'll be seeing is Shraddha Traya Vibhaga Yoga. Shraddha Traya itself is three, the yoga of differentiating threefold faith. In this chapter, the Lord shows how the concept of guna that was detailed in the 14th chapter applies to faith, worship, food, sacrifices, rituals, austerities, and charity. That is, those who are in mode of goodness, how do they worship, what sort of food they will have, and how they will do the charity. So in all those three modes, how one has a faith, worship, food, sacrifices, rituals, austerities, and charity. So that is what we are seeing. We are going to see the divisions of faith. Then Arjuna inquired about unauthorized worship. He is asking, Ye Shastra Vidham Urjasya, that is, he's asking all those. Lord Krishna answers three modes. Trividha Bhavati Shraddha determines one's faith and worship. Then foods in three modes. Ayuhu Sattva Bala Arogya. Ayu Balam Arogyam. Balam is the strength, Arogyam is the health, and then Ayuhu is the longevity. Sacrifices in three modes. We are going to also see that. Then Aphalank Shabhir Yajno, three modes in austerity, Pujanam, Saucham, Arjavam. Austerity again, three modes. Then Pidaya Krityate Tapaha. Then charity in three modes. Again, Dese Kalecha Patrecha. Desham Kalam Patram. When you do the charity, whom are you giving? Why? Is it really the time of giving when it is required? Patram, whom are you giving? Whether really they require. Om Tatsat, that is sacrifice, charity, austerity should be offered to the Supreme. That is why Om Tatsat Iti Nirdesho. This is what we are going to see. Now, Srijita Mataji, is Grishma Mataji here? Okay. All right. Arjuna Uvacha Ye Shastra Vidhimrutsrijya Yajante Shraddhayanvitaha Tesham Nishta Tu Ka Krishna Sattva Maho Rajastamaha.
Arjuna said, O Krishna, what is the situation of one who does not follow the principles of scripture but worships according to his own imagination? Is he in goodness, in passion, or in ignorance?
Okay, on his own principles, without any scriptures, then his own imagination. That is flying spaghetti masters and Scientology. Like, hey, I know everything. I am the one. There are people, you will find all around you like that. Shri Bhagavan Vacha Trividha Bhavati Shraddha Dehinam Sa Swabhavaja Satviki Rajasi Chaiva Tamasi Chetitam Shruno.
The Supreme Lord said, according to the modes of nature acquired by the embodied soul.
Okay,
One's faith,
so yeah, go ahead.
One's faith can be of three kinds: goodness, passion, or ignorance. Now, hear about these. According to one's existence under the various modes of nature, One evolves a particular kind of faith. The living being is said to be of a particular faith according to the modes he has acquired.
Yes, if you see here, Kami, Bhakta, Jnani. So Kami, depending on the Kama, like, what is it? So we have seen Nishkama Karma Yoga. So Rajas, Sattva, here, Karma, Kama, Swargaloka. They will reach Swargaloka. Jnani, then, always in the Jnani. So Brahman, Mukti, Jnana, Sattva. Then Shuddha Sattva. Shuddha Sattva is the highest here. Bhakti, Prema, finally with Krishna. So we will see once you are in the second level in detail when we go, we will see all these stages and where we are. Always reflect. See, whatever is being given here, remember one thing, where am I? Where am I? Where am I? Yesterday when, I was singing and somebody was singing, I was like, automatically the tears come. Automatically you feel the sense of Krishna. Where am I? Which stage am I? Okay, Krishna, I'm closing. I'm close by to you. You are closer to me. Start remembering. And when you hear the pravachan, when you hear somebody, chanting the mantras, or when you hear Bhagavatam stories, Bhagavatam scriptures, we need to connect with that. So then automatically you will see, am I a jnani or am I doing a nishkama karma yoga? Why do we need to assess ourselves? Always I'm asking you to do this because we are working on mind control. Am I getting the sense gratification? Am I getting deterred, or am I just pulling myself? So please keep that watch on you. It will help you in overall connection. In overall connection, it will help you a lot. Okay. यजन्ते सात्विका देवानि अक्षरक्षांसि राजसाः प्रेतान् भूतगणांश्चान्ये यजन्ते तामसा जनाः.
Men in the mode of goodness worship the demigods. Those in the mode of passion worship the demons, and those in the mode of ignorance worship ghosts and spirits.
Okay, so the mode of goodness, they will worship demigods because the desires are fulfilled. Once you remember one thing, the demigods are all Krishna's limbs. That means Krishna makes sure that he's a CEO, suppose, and they're all managers. Your desire, okay, Ganesh, I I think I shared it with you all. I was told in one of the village, like, they were constructing the church and they started doing Ganesh Puja first, that the construction should go on there. So for different purposes, for different, this one, demigods are worshipped. Okay. Those in the mode of passion, they will worship demons. There are like, Atharva Veda talks about, and many villages, many places, there are this black magic which goes on, and that is in the ignorance. They will do ghosts and spirits. Okay. And demons also they will worship, and just for their desires to be fulfilled, and not realizing, is that the goal? Is that the goal? And enemies to be vanished, and there are a lot of things which you would have heard around you. And so in different modes, people worship different demigods, demons, and ghosts and spirits. Okay. You would have seen all these pictures, in many states, such things still goes on. Ashastra vihitam ghoram tapyante ye tapojanaha dabha ahankara samyukta damba ahankara samyukta kamaraga balanvita karshayantas sharirastham bhutagramamachetasah mam chaivantas sharirastham tan vidyasura nishchayan.
Those who undergo severe austerities and penances not recommended in the scriptures, performing them out of pride, egotism, lust, and attachment, who are impelled by passion and who torture their bodily organs as well as the super soul dwelling within, are to be known as demons.
Actually, too much of starving, too much of, like, creating ourselves into, putting our body, putting our selves into that, pain and grief, because Krishna is dwelling inside. We cannot do that. We cannot. We need to be very calm and composed, means we cannot undergo the severe austerities and penances. Okay. That is not recommended in the scriptures. So, and a lot of people, just to show off, they do dhamba. They just show it, pride, egoism. Just because I can do it, just see I do it, and I'm such a big bhakta. So no scripture has ever advised this. Okay, 8 to 10. Now, this is all food. Please remember, kindly see and check what you eat has lots and lots of relevance here. Okay, Ayuho Sattva Bhala Arogya Sukha Priti Vivardhanaha Rasyaha Snigdhaha Sthira Hridya Aharaha Satvika Priyaha. We have a doctor here with us. Okay, and I'm sure that a lot of relevance. If you are interested, you can explain, Rupa Manjari Mataji. I would love to hear from you for the group's benefit, that how these foods in the mode of goodness increase the duration of life, purify one's existence, and give strength, health, and happiness. Would you like to give our just few sentences?
Okay, Mataji.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Yes.
The foods which come under the mode of goodness, they are actually sweet, juicy, and especially they are fresh and hot. What is said that once the food is soft, hot, and fresh, it gives us more bala or strength in the body, and hence it is the best compared to the other three. Because when we see the foods that come under mode of passion, they are on the extremes, either too sweet or either too sour or either too salty, which are not good for the body. Like each of the properties has various, when we see from Ayurveda, like too bitter, too sour and salty things, they cause pitta vriddhi or increase of the acidity, etc. in our body, and dry causes increase of vata, which is extremes are not good for the body. They will result in some of the other diseased conditions. And tamoguna, though, we can clearly see that they consume completely stale food, which anyway are not good for the body. And when we see from Ayurveda aspect, they increase the mother in our body. Mother is the intoxicated feeling, and these food items increase the intoxication feeling in our mind, which this like gradually slow down the working of the brain, and then it's not at all good for the body.
Lovely. Thank you, Hare Krishna. I wanted from the medical point of view, how Krishna has explained so beautifully and what is good for you. So right now, can you imagine that we are getting the information of what to eat, what to think, how to think, what do we do? So it's just not the religious book. This is what you need to tell your friends and others in the community and ask them to join the course, and then level 2, go in detail, go and dive. And even today, one of our devotee left, and I was like, oh my God, why can't we understand that it is how I live, what is it I have to live, how do I live, and why? So how, why, what, it is all like, whether it is medical, whether it is your breath, whether it is connection, whether it is, everything is so beautifully given. Now, I purposely asked you because, so much of psychological point of view also, when we hear why Ekadashi, why 11 days, and then why Jiva foods, organic, now people are going behind organic. So somewhere we are away from nature. That is what this, so much into the fast foods, and we don't know with what intentions it is cooked. Is it prasadam? Is it being given to Krishna? Does it really help us in balam arogyam? Why people fall sick? Why so much of medicine is not required at all? So, I mean, think about it. Just see, these are all clearly shows the varieties of food that is being, and the beauty is, we do have a lot of sessions here in the Jaivik food. That is the food which has got Jiva. Jiva is the which has got the energy, which has got the life force. And the workshop will have, and 10 days they will eat all Satvika Bhojan, and the 11th day they will go and eat all junk food. So everything gone, no? So that control, that sense control, mind says, no, that's not good for me. That is where we all need to work for. Okay. If somebody says, oh, that's an enjoyment only for one day, no, it's okay. So only for one day, how can we? That is where we all need to understand that is it good for me or no? Apalankshibhiryajño bhididrishto cha yijyate yashtavyameveti manasama samadhaya cha satvika.
Of sacrifices, that sacrifice performed according to duty and to scriptural rules and with no expectation of reward is of the nature of goodness.
Yes, all sacrifices. So the best one is, what is there in the scriptural as a rule and without any expectations. I'm doing all this because I love Krishna, and for Krishna likes all this, so I'm doing it for Krishna. So yes, 12th is abhisandhaya tu palam dambhartamapi chaivayat yijyate bharata sreshtatam yajñam vidhi rajasam.
But that sacrifice performed for some material end or benefit or performed ostentatiously out of pride is of the nature of passion, O chief of the Bharatas.
I would like to ask you a question here. There is one devotee, I mean, not a chief priest, okay? He's conducting yajna and tapas, and he's collecting money to help around 10 to 15 priests of the temple, especially in this COVID time. They never had any, they could never go anywhere because naturally the calls will not come and they cannot do. So he was getting it done in one of the temple and collecting money from different people and doing it. Is it for dambha? Is it, so which mode does it come? Which mode is it like, equivalent to? Is it mode of passion or not mode of ignorance? Of course, mode of goodness. I just want you to tell me, mode of passion or mode of goodness? Anyone?
I think it is mode of passion.
Okay. Why?
Because he could have done this during the because they are kind of charging money, and which, like, okay, it is okay for their livelihood to survive and all, but they could have done this before as well, but they increased this during COVID time and all. So I think it is mode of passion.
Okay, only one priest, he is making 10 priests to do this yajna for the community well-being. Okay, this is another one, community well-being, and for everybody's well-being, and paying them as a livelihood for monthly basis. That is mode of goodness. I understand if you just want to collect money for as a donation. So there are many things, but those who know the Vedic scriptures, those who are chanting the mantras, we cannot doubt them. We are not supposed to, because everybody's karma, they themselves have to face it, right? Prarabdha karma and sanchita karma, that is all accumulated karma. So one doesn't, we are not the judges, but just the comparison of mode of passion and mode of goodness is what I was trying to explain for the sacrifices, for the yajna and tapasa when they do. Okay, thank you, Madan. So, and that sacrifice performed, I think you all know about it, that Mohini Avataram, what happened was he wanted to find out, and so he himself kept his head. Then Shiva gave this, he said, okay, this is what your Bhasmasura, remember? Bhasma Asura. He wanted that nobody should be, I should be immortal and I should not die. So what he did was, he asked Lord Shiva, and Lord Shiva sanctioned him. And so now immediately Bhasmasura said, let me try out on you. So he was behind Shiva. So he went to Vishnu and Vishnu Loka, and then Shiva said, what is happening? I don't know. Then that is how that Mohini Avataram, and then Vishnu came, descended, and he did the dance, and then he made Bhasmasura to keep his hand on his own head. So what is that shows is like, sacrifice performed in defiance of scriptural injunctions, in which no spiritual food is distributed, no hymns are chanted, and no remunerations are made to the priest, and which is faithless. That sacrifice is the nature of ignorance. People call and they don't pay anything, they don't give anything, they don't give in charity, and they don't follow the Vedic scriptures. They just do it for show off, and without any faith, then it is in the mode of ignorance. So Devadvija Guru Pragnya Pujanam Shauchamarjavam Brahmacharya Mahimsa Cha Shariram Tapa Uchyate.
The austerity of the body consists in this worship of the Supreme Lord, the Brahmanas, the spiritual master, and superiors like the father and mother. Cleanliness, simplicity, celibacy, and non violence are also austerities of the body.
Yes. So cleanliness, internal, external, and simplicity, celibacy, of course, brahmacharyam, and non-violence. Now, the worship of the Supreme Lord, the Brahmanas, spiritual master, and superior like father and mother. There was this child, 15-year-old boy. He finished his arti in the temple, and he took the tray. All the children were asked to do, just to be with the culture here in US in one of the temple. And this boy took the arti plate outside, and I was wondering where is he going, and we found he did the arti to his parents. I was like, it is amazing. So he said, no, they were from Guyana. And he said, no, we are told that to the parents, we are supposed to do the arti, because of them only today, whatever I am. So it's the way it is, like always, touch their feet. Guru, wherever they say, immediately fall down, touch the feet. And you will see in most of the people in North India, they'll touch the feet just standing and bending down. In South India, they'll fall, and then it's like Shashta Anga Pranam. So these are like, doing namaste. But then who? That, the worship of Supreme Lord, Brahmana, spiritual master, superior like the father and the mother. Brahmanas also, the great sages, how they used to do one another. Bhagavatas, everybody will do to one another, whether small or big, those who are into that. So you will find this traditions. Bhagavad Gita says, means you can imagine from which time. So it's been always told. The more we have that humbleness, that humility automatically develops in us. That is one of the biggest advantage in our homes, which has been taught from the childhood. And I think most of you are still following. If not, you can still follow that. Any function, anything, the guru, the mother and father, and so you all know how we have to, whether you like it or not. Anudvegakaram vakyam satyam priyahitam chayat swadhyaya abhyasanam chaiva vangmayam tava uchyate.
Austerity of speech consists in speaking truthfully and beneficially, and in avoiding speech that offends. One should also recite the Vedas regularly.
Yes, Purusha Suktam, Sri Suktam. There are a lot of scriptures, and in Tamil, of course, Nalayara Divya Prabandham, if we are not able to, say it in Sanskrit, and then any of those Vedas are in the forms of lot of hymns also, poetry, which is very simplified. Anything can be chanted. So austerity of speech is very, very important. Disciplining our speech. Think before we speak. Do not analyze people. So, and truthful, be truthful, even if it is going to, hurt or harm somebody, hold it and then say the truth. Beneficially in avoiding speech that offends. So if it is something offending, then it is better not to even, because how much others will feel bad is what is very important before we speak. Manaprasada saumyatvam maunamatmani vinigraha bhava samshuddhirityet tat tapo manasamuchyate.
And serenity, simplicity, gravity, self-control, and purity of thought are the austerities of the mind.
Anybody can explain this image? Many of you know also. Remember, Vedavyasa and his son, both of them are walking, are
Ma'am,
going.
about Shukha Maharaj.
Correct. Shuka Maharaja. So 16-year Shuka Maharaja is like, when Vedavyasa calls Shuka, then the plant, that everything says yes. That means, so he is such a Atma Jnani. That means he is with that. And he's a great Jnani, and he never wanted to come out of the, he never wanted to be born also. So this is that simplicity, serenity, self-control. Vedavyasa was surprised, when he went, all these girls, all these women immediately covered themselves when they were taking shower, when they were in the pond. Whereas when his son walked, they just did not bother. So Vedavyasa was very curious, and he came back and asked them, why did you do this? He said, your son never asked us, no? Whatever it is, he just sees only the soul, but why this? So what does it show? The serenity and self-control, purity of thought. Doesn't mean that Vedavyasa did not have the purity of thought, but beyond that was Shuka Maharaj. Okay, so Shraddhaya Paraya Taptam Tapastat Trividham Naraihi Aphalang Kakshibhir Yuktaihi Satvikam Parichakshase.
This threefold austerity, practiced by men whose aim is not to benefit themselves materialist, but to please the Supreme, is of the nature of goodness.
What do you see here? Govardhanagiri Parikrama. I think this place would be Pradesh Prabhu. Where is this? It is clearly given here. Vrindavan Parikrama, Govardhan Parikrama, then Mayapur Parikrama. So all this Parikrama. Okay. So Vrindavan, Govardhan, Mayapur. I think Govardhan is around 21 kilometers. Vrindavan and Govardhan I haven't been to Mayapur. But this Parikrama, and we can see people even rolling, they will roll, that is the whole body on the road. And they know, oh, Krishna has played here, Krishna was here, Krishna was here. That sort of anything and everything. Whether they understand or they don't understand, they are there in the Saptaham, that is 7 days Bhagavatam. 8 hours it has been chanted, but still they will be sitting there. What did you understand? No, Saptaham in Bhagavatam, Krishna is there, no? So we are there. Whether we understood or not, we are there, listening to Bhagavatam. That is how the devotees are. Okay. The Satkaramana Pujartham Tapodambhena Chaivayat Kriyate Tadiha Proktam Rajasam Chala Madhruvam.
Those ostentatious penances and austerities which are performed in order to gain respect, honor, and reverence are said to be in the mode of passion. They are neither stable nor permanent.
I regret many times, when I think of, I used to feel, because that's not dumb bump, but then, just to keep ourselves, we feel very good. I went there, I did this. When it's not to gain respect or honor, but most of the time we are in the mode of passion because we like to say it. Oh, this is what I did. This is what it's out of curiosity we say. But then, when you compare now, was it in the mode of passion? You start thinking. That's what I'm asking you all to think also. So we can, hold it. We should not be saying, but the others have to say what is there in you. Okay. So, Mudagrahena Atmano Yatpidya Kriyate Tapaha Parasyot Sadhanartham Va Tathama Samudahrutam.
And those penances and austerities which are performed foolishly by means of obstinate self torture or to destroy or injure others are said to be in the mode of ignorance.
Many places, many temples, many occasions, we see such things. Very unfortunate. We cannot say it is because we should not find fault, and that is their faith, that is their trust, and that is their desire, and they pray and they do the penances like that, and most of the time maybe they get the benefit, and so they have that strong faith which goes on. uh, and we cannot comment on that. We should not also, but that's how it is. Okay, so dhatavyam iti yad danam. Now danam. Now about charity. Dhatavyam iti yad danam diyate anupakarine deshe kale cha patre desha kala patra cha tad dhanam satvikam smritam.
That gift which is given out of duty at the proper time and place to a worthy person and without expectation of return is considered to be charity in the mode of goodness.
Yes, Brajesh Prabhu is the best example. He has been doing this, thing. And I sent around 10, I got this Bhagavad Gita book. Then I made somebody to go and get. And imagine, some people took it and they wrote, so nice. And I was reading and I'm happy about it. And some of them said, no, we have it. We don't require it. This is how it is. So we need to do, whether it is dhanam. Okay, so diyate, so it is said that in Tamil also there is like patram arindu picha podu, which means give the charity, or even if somebody is begging, make sure that is the right person, the right patram. Patram is what? The begging bowl. So we need to do the charity to the right time, right person, right place. Worthy person is very important word here. And we give it, we are very happy about it, but the person who receives is not very happy. Okay, so we need to be very careful in doing that. So Bali Maharaja giving charity, that was a beautiful charity that he gave, when Vamana Avataram, you all know, the behind him is Shukracharya, that gift which is given out of duty at the proper time. So what does he do? He gave Vamana, Indra was so scared that, Mahabali Chakravarti is like such a great king, and he has been doing so much of that his austerity was really making Indraloka a little chatter and shake. So because he was one of the descendant of Asura, then he was very scared. Who? Indra. And somehow, naturally, when Asuras become very powerful, Chakravarti, Prahlad Maharaj's grandson is Mahabali. But then once the one person is good, is fine. But then Asuras, when they all become very powerful, it becomes difficult for the whole, the universe. So naturally, Vamana, Vishnu had to take this incarnation as a Vamana and comes and asks for 3 feet. That's it. One, Bhuloka, Bhuvarloka. The other one on the space. The third one, he says, where is it? Nobody understood that. How can one small, tiny Brahman boy can ask for just 3 feet? And then you all know the story about it, right? So, but then Mahabali says, I'm happy. So he shows his head, and the third one is, he becomes a Chakravarti in Patalaloka. Okay, this also Nanda Maharaj is out of happiness. So it's the same like charity given without any expectations, out of happiness, out of, that love, that is all in mode of goodness. We see this, a lot of people doing this. Yattu pratyupakarartham palamuddhishya va punah diyate cha pariklishtam taddanam rajasam smritam.
But charity performed with the expectation of some return or with a desire for fruitive results or in a grudging mood is said to be charity in the mode of passion.
Okay, so how much disgusting it would be for the person who is going to be taking, it's taking selfie and putting it, and he went there, did this, did this, did that, just for the picture, just for the publicity. That is around us. It happens a lot. Adesha kale yaddanam patrebhyascha diyate asatkritam avajñatam tattama samudahrutam.
And charity performed at an improper place and time and given to unworthy persons without respect and with contempt is charity in the mode of ignorance.
That reminds me, one in one place, the shop was getting closed and they were trying to distribute the mattress and blankets. A lot of people came and a lot of, I don't know what happened, and we saw everything around, and then one of the temple, a lot of milk was distributed. And I still remember, and when the milk was distributed, they all stand in the line and take, and they are in the wheelchair. Sometimes they are like, having all, as if they're all leprosy patients. Then evening, when we went, and one of the doctor was there and said, no, purposely, and they will, what they were talking, that these people will do a lot of sins, they will commit a lot of sins, and they will come and distribute this. Why should we have it? So do you understand the gravity, where I am giving? Am I giving it in the right way, right person? And is it of really of any use? But with dambam, with pride, for just show off when we give, or when it is given to the unworthy persons. This I remember. I don't want to name the place and name the temple, but this is what they were discussing and talking. It is very unfortunate. So much of without respect and with contempt. People who are giving also with contempt, okay? But they were not at all those patients for whom they were giving. So we need to be very, very careful if we want to give that charity in mode of goodness or mode of passion or mode of ignorance. It depends once we know. Imagine, help, I need money for weed. For all those marijuana and everything they need. They'll just stand there. They wouldn't have any shame also. From the beginning of creation, the three syllables Om Tat Sat have been used to indicate the supreme absolute truth Brahman. They were uttered by Brahmanas while chanting Vedic hymns and during sacrifices for the satisfaction of the Supreme. Everything begins like, Om Tat Sat, Hari Om Tat Sat, Hari Om Tat Sat. Tat is Sat. It is, Sat is always Satya. It is always absolute truth. Okay. So this is the same thing. All the charities, everything to Krishna. तस्मादोमित्युद्धाहृत्य यज्ञदानतपक्रियाः प्रवर्तन्ते विधानोक्ताः सत्तं ब्रह्मवादिनाम्.
Thus the transcendentalists undertake sacrifices, charities, and penances, beginning always with Om to attain the Supreme.
Yes, it's all for him. So they begin. It is called Pranava Mantra. Pranava Mantra is the beginning. Beginning is always done with that mantra. It has a deeper meaning. We can explain it later on, but then, those three alphabets and how, where all your tongue, your inside, your pranavayu, everything comes into the use. Okay. So, taditya nabhisandhaya palam yajñatapakriyaha dana kriyascha vividhaha kriyante moksha kankshibhihi.
One should perform sacrifice, penance, and charity with the word Tat. The purpose of such transcendental activities is to get free from the material entanglement.
So, namama in the temple, the priest and all, when they take, we do give the money after they do the puja and all. So they clearly say it is namama, it's not mine, it's all Krishna's, it's all Krishna's. So like that, there are certain mantra or japas, when they do it, they say, so tat, with the word tat, sat, tat. सद्भावे साधुभावे च तदित्येतत् प्रयुज्यते प्रशस्ते कर्मणि तथा सच्छब्दः पार्थ युज्यते Yajne tapasi dane cha sthiti saditi chochyate karma chaiva tadarthiyam sadityevaha vidhiyate.
The absolute truth is the objective of devotional sacrifice and it is indicated by the word sat. These works of sacrifice, of penance, and of charity, true to the absolute nature, are performed to please the Supreme Person, O son of Partha.
So we will see in Chandogya Upanishad, okay, Sat means eternal, activities done for the service of the Lord reveal the true spiritual nature. In such activity, the performer of action becomes eternal. So when we say Om Tat Sat, the activities are aimed at the internal and the benefits of the activities are also eternal. It is for him, it is said, Ashraddhaya Putam Dattam Tapas Taptam Kritam Chayat Asadityuchyate Partha Na cha Tat Pretya Noiha.
But sacrifices, austerities, and charities performed without faith in the Supreme are non permanent, O son of Partha, regardless of whatever rites are performed. They are called asat and are useless both in this life and the next.
So when it is like, everything without faith in the Supreme are all non-permanent. And there are people who do this, and there are, not only people, there are believers who believe that we don't have to. It is just for the sake of doing. That is all asat. It is not satya. It is not truth. So they are useless in both in this life and the next, unless and until you have this. Tatsat is the eternal sound of pranava. Pranava is from the prana, from the exhalation and inhalation that you take from the life. Om Tat Sat represents the unmanifest and absolute reality. So the word reality here, it means total existence. Lord said Om Tat Sat is actually a threefold name of Supreme Soul, with which at the start of the universe of Brahman, Vedas and Yajna were made. Krishna is the enjoyer, proprietor, and the well-wisher. Okay. So I'll stop the screen sharing, and I really want the questions that I asked in the beginning. If anybody, have you written anything in the chat? I don't see. So why do we need to control the mind, and how do we control the mind? There's two questions enough. 5 or 6 of them I asked in the beginning, but that's what we have been working through in science and spirituality under this heading. So I just want, because tomorrow we wouldn't have so much of time. It's a big chapter. So whatever you learned, 1 or 2 sentences, because that's not there in your quiz links. I don't think so. So the quizzes you are doing, and you will be joining the second level. Be with us in detail. We will have a study, and we will not be going so fast, and we'll not just have the glimpse, but we will go in detail about each and every shloka to understand, basically to understand. So what I'm asking is, why do we need to control the mind, and how do we control the mind? Anybody can answer. Unmute yourself and please answer. Have you started practicing also? Yes. Do you think that we didn't understand anything? 17 days. We have been working on that. Yes, I think Shrijita Mataji and Rupa Manjari Mataji, you begin, and I would really request all of you, those who are here, yes, I just want 1 sentence. If you have started experiencing that also, you can relate, share.
Yes, Mataji, I have started practicing. I'm not successful, but I have started. Like previously, I used to think about what will happen in the future. Will I get a job, or can I get good grades? Will I get good marks? But now I've completely left all those things. Seriously, it helped me a lot, and I have started concentrating on my studies. So that is the major positive thing I have achieved after attaining this course.
Okay, thank you so much, Shrijita Mataji. Yes, I want everybody to unmute and say one sentence at least. Yes, this is an interactive session. I should not be talking at all.
Mataji, I especially experienced that I have this habit of pleasing everyone around. But as you said that one shouldn't keep our mind engaged in all these things and focus on Krishna. So I experienced that, okay, all these things must be happening and I shouldn't waste my time and my energy on this, and control my mind from going over these all thoughts ki if people are impressed or not. And
Okay. Thank you, Rup Manjari Mataji. Thank you so much. Very nice. Hare Krishna. Yes, Biswajit Prabhu, I would really love to hear you. Many of my students used to be in the mute, and then, whether they are there or not, I don't know. Okay. Anyone else? All right. If you're all busy, I understand. I can stop here. You
Mataji,
can write it in. Yes, Prabhu. Thank you so much.
Mataji, I am not an early bird before joining that class.
Mm.
But after joining, I wake up every day at 5:45.
Okay.
And this course helped me a lot,
Okay.
and I'm blessed for this.
Okay. Thank you so much. Please start chanting, all of you. You will really enjoy. You will start experiencing everything that is being told by Krishna here. Okay. I am not
Thank
telling.
you, Mataji. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Thank you for sharing, Biswajit Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu. I just want at least, 4 or 5 of you speak about it, and do make sure that the others join. January 3rd is the 21st course, and you all know this is the largest, and let all your friends, all the members around you get the benefit. So that is one of the biggest devotional service that we'll be doing. Okay. And let everyone get the benefit of hearing from Krishna. Yes, thank you so much. Hare Krishna. And being the 18th day tomorrow, Prajesh Prabhu, any links that you're going to share, or any administrative, any announcement that you have to make on behalf of Mangalore ISKCON Temple? Voluntary service, one thing, and you are going to get the certificate, and you're level 2 getting registration done. These 3 things I remember. Prajesh Prabhu, anything else?
No, Mataji.
Okay. Okay. You can share those links that is required. Okay. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Have
Thank you,
a
Mataji. Hare
wonderful
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Rup Manjari Mataji and Srijita Mataji, Prajesh Prabhu, all of you, thank you so much. We'll see tomorrow. Thank you. Hare Krishna, all of you. Hare Krishna.